Alright, it is time to roast the Clippers and this garbage, pathetic, disgusting franchise. Okay, maybe that's like a little bit harsh, but Kawhi Leonard and Marcus Morris are literally like the only two players in the entire NBA that I actively don't like and root against. So I'm enjoying this. But let's take a real quick look at what's really at stake here for the Clippers. Not really for Kawhi's legacy or anything, even though Kawhi kind of played like ass today. 20 points on 7 of 19 shooting, 5 turnovers. Not great. I think he did a decent job on Luka when he had time on him in the second half, but just a pretty underwhelming performance in general from Kawhi. Paul George coming in with like 2 or 3 clutch turnovers at the end of that game. But the Clippers as a franchise, they're moving into a new stadium next year. They're finally going to get out of the shadow of the Lakers. And Kawhi isn't even re-signed for next year. Kawhi is a free agent after this, and I think he's probably looking around at this team being like, what do we have? We have Paul George, who is a perennial playoff choker. We have... Who else? Who else is a piece to like move forward with? Terrence Mann. Terrence Mann's a young guy they have who's, good energy guy. I like his game. He's good, but Beverly's old, who also barely even plays anymore. Rondo's old. I guess Zubac is like a piece that they can keep. Batum's old, Marcus Morris is old, Reggie Jackson is no spring chicken. Like, this is a win now team that I don't think is capable of winning now. I don't think this is a championship roster. Outside of their top 2 players, it drops off really quickly. I don't know what Serge Ibaka, maybe I have just not paid attention, he's injured, but Serge Ibaka is probably like the 3rd most talented player on this team. And yeah, not even in the picture of this playoffs. So Kawhi Leonard could very well leave the Clippers this year if they lose this series, which I'm not going to say it looks like it because I think this series is still very winnable for the Clippers. They're definitely capable of winning the next 2 games, and I think Dallas is definitely capable of having 2 bad shooting nights in a row because Dallas is a team that relies so heavily on the 3-point jump shot that some nights they're not going to go in, and we saw that. I believe it was in game 3 or 4, one of the home games for Dallas. They just shot abysmally, and it lost them the game. They just weren't able to overcome the fact that they couldn't hit any threes. But when we look at the Clippers, gave up 5 draft picks and a couple pick swaps for Paul George, so they don't have anything really to trade unless they're going like deep future first round picks. And at that point, you're just playing with fire. Like, are they really gonna trade like their 2028 first round pick for somebody? Like, that would be crazy. That's a ridiculous thing to do for something that's probably not going to guarantee you a championship. Like, what does your 2028 first rounder really get you if you're the Clippers? Like, this is their roster. This is the team they have to win with right now. And I just think this is awesome basketball karma. I hate the idea of when teams tank at the end of the season to get a playoff matchup, which is what the Clippers did. They lost the last 2 games of the season to OKC and Houston, 2 of the worst teams in the league, because they wanted to avoid the Lakers, which, now with hindsight, the Lakers are injured, and it was probably a dumb move. I mean, the Clippers probably could have beaten the Lakers if they played them in the 2-7 matchup now. No Anthony Davis. That Lakers roster is also looking pretty weak outside of LeBron and AD right now. They're playing Drummond like half the game. Drummond fucking sucks, dude. So the Clippers did all that to avoid the Lakers. They asked for Dallas, a team that gave them trouble in the playoffs last year with no Kristaps, and they just thought they would steamroll Dallas. No, they'd get Utah in the second round, and they thought it'd be an easy waltz to the conference finals, but no. They're right here about to lose in the first round, and even if they do get out of this first round, which again is very possible, they're a talented team, there's no guarantee they beat Utah. Utah is on a roll right now. Like, ever since they got Donovan Mitchell back, like, this Utah offense looks potent. And the Clippers, are a team that hangs their hat on their defense. I don't really think there's a defense that can defend the type of offense that the Jazz run. The Jazz are so much based on ball movement, player movement, kind of like the 2014 Spurs, where it didn't really matter if they went up against teams that had good on-ball defenders. Like, the way to beat them is to be a great team defense. And the Clippers are a good team defense, don't get me wrong, but I don't think they're just going to clamp up Utah. I think Utah's going to be able to score a lot of points. And I just think Kawhi and Paul George are going to have to go off offensively to beat Utah in the next round. That is, again, if they beat Dallas, which right now I'd probably give like a 70-30 split on Dallas winning this series. You know, Dallas got to come home, and I don't think they should change the game plan up a whole lot. I like that they gave Boban minutes this game. It really gave them a different look. He was able to really control the glass while he was out there, and that zone defense was forcing the non-shooters of the Clippers to take the three-point jump shots, which is, I mean, this is what you want to do in today's NBA. Like, you have to give up something on defense, and that's probably the best shot you want to give up. So expect more Boban in Game 6, unless Ty Lue just pulls something out of his ass and finds a way to scheme him out of the game. But I don't have faith in Ty Lue like that. I think Ty Lue's a great player coach, but I don't think he's a great X's and O's coach. I think it took him way too long to adjust in this series. Like, I feel like they didn't make any adjustments until Game 3. But man, what basketball karma. This is why you don't tank at the end of the year. This is why you just win your games. Don't be worried about what the other teams are doing, because if you want to win a championship, you're going to have to play all the best teams. Like, you're going to have to play good teams on your road to a finals. Don't dodge them. So Steve Ballmer, man. Steve Ballmer's a smart dude, made a lot of great investments in his life, but this Clippers team might be the worst investment he's ever made.